Hello everybody and welcome to this quick tutorial in which I'm going to show you how we can rebuild this fancy looking ceiling fan. We'll go over all the necessary sketches. As you can see, the interesting part of this design will be how we're going to later solve actually the twisting of the blade. This whole model is more representation of the outer volume. It doesn't have any internal components in it, but still we built everything with the individual parts. So the hanging part, the rotating disc at the bottom, and then also the 3 plates. Okay, well that's it. Let's go ahead, make a new design. Make sure we do capture the design history. It's on in my case. And then the unit system we set to millimeters. We can simply start with a sketch. Work simply on the easy part. That's the hanging center element. So make a sketch on this plane, create a line, and we can draw a line straight up. That's 440 millimeters. I'll zoom out a little bit, and then I can continue drawing to the left 50, and I draw down 55. You see, I'm actually following strictly also the grid. So make sure you have kind of like snapping to the grid turned on, or also make sure when you go left and right, you really go horizontal. Here, I don't know how much. Here again, I will go kind of like straight down, horizontal over, straight down to here, go back, click, click, done. Now we can go ahead and dimension everything. That line will be, let's say 64 millimeters. This will be 150. And then the radius of this shaft is actually 13 millimeters. So 2.6 centimeters. There we are. Okay. Now, since we have a rotating element at the bottom, I'm going to draw in a line here too. Make sure you draw this line horizontally. And then 12 millimeters. Very good. Cool. So that's all I need. Now, very simplistic sketch. If I quickly go back here to this design, you see there's a lot more. This is chamfered. We have rounded edges. All that is actually something I do in modeling space. So I can start at this point already with the revolve. There's number one. Right click, repeat the bottom part and select that axis. But here make sure as a new body. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. So that looks actually kind of nice. I know here, this edge, I will chamfer at one point, so I can do this, let's say 10 millimeters. Very good. Rounding, filleting edges, I do really later. I wouldn't do this right now. But that's a detailed task we do at a later point. What is quite nice here is also we have vertical grooves that cut through these two surfaces. So we need to at somewhere start putting the stuff down. So I can click on this top face because that's kind of like where I would like to draw onto and create a sketch. Can zoom to here because I can make use of the axis. Go to rectangle center there and then drag this one out. And essentially, now I can specify now how far does this go in. I don't necessarily know that. So I will project actually this upper edge of the cylinder into my sketch because now I have a reference, as you can see, and I can put this also on this edge now. To center this on the x-axis, I will horizontally constrain it to this point, but I don't want to project anything else in there. Clock done. So now when I press escape and I drag this, oh, you actually should be coincident constraint on that one. Thank you. So now when I drag this point, as long as Fusion allows me to do it. Press M, select this one. There it works. Okay. I guess Fusion is cranky here and it wants me to. Maybe I have to dimension this by hand. Okay. Let's see what happens. So this one we make 10. Very good. And then this one I make 10 too. So now I have a nice rectangle. So I know that basically this groove is double as wide as it goes into the space. And now I can click finish, show my body, and I will select both profiles. And then I will actually simply extrude this one down. There. And I can go down. Now and then, yeah, how do I decide how far should this go down? So the lower part is exactly 12 millimeters. I know that this actually goes down by 150. So if this only should go in 2 millimeters, then basically this would be minus 140. A little bit of math. So this goes 2 millimeters in, 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters. So essentially now we have vertical 5 in 5. So it's up to you. I'll go with this. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. So everything in CAD or design in general is working smart, not hard. I don't need to actually create additional sketches to create the additional grooves. I can actually, because I have one clean cut, simply do a circular pattern of that feature. See here, feature, this one, along this axis. Let's go 3 times. Okay, very good. Now we have 3 blades, so I stay consistent with that. Pretty nice. Cool. We will later round these edges. Again, this is something we're going to do later. That's a detail piece. So at this point, we can actually now take a look at how we can design the blade that's under it. So I will go to the bottom view. Go to Sketch, click on this plane. Very good. There we are. And then I will draw from the center a line out 590 millimeters. There we are. Very good. Then one line up to 50. Press L for the line key. 50 down. They are automatically constrained. Now I also have these options here turned on. I can bring this over. I can actually turn one off and then say these two should actually be equal. So you and you. So I'm going to press escape and then type in 30. You see that other line updates. Pretty nice. Okay, very good. And then this goes over. Yeah, and I would like to have a little bit of a draft, kind of like an angle. Okay, but I don't really know where this endpoint is. So what I should do now first is actually I draw myself here one line, escape, draw another line, escape, and then press D and add the dimension here to 60 degrees. The same here. Because if we have 3 blades, 360 degree divided by 3 is 60, 120, 120 divided by 2, 60. And then I can actually connect this there. To make these two lines the same, also here, equal constraint. There we are. And then when I move one point in, you see the other point moves with it. Okay, pretty cool. Okay, that's actually quite nice. So we can do a test at this point. I select these two profiles, go to solid, and then let's extrude this down 5 millimeters negative. So it goes down. Please don't join. Thank you. Okay. Quick study. How will this look when we make a circular pattern of this? Okay. And that's actually quite cool. We're going to run into an issue later here because I would like to actually round these edges, and I will show you an interesting way how we're gluing stuff together and then slicing it again. We can now, for example, play with the styling of this blade or the blades. Right click on that sketch, show dimension. That allows me now to, for example, drag elements, change the blades, make them really massive, or get closer. Can even make them smaller, which makes no sense. 40, 50, yeah, this actually looks pretty good. I don't want this dimension to drag, I want this point to drag. There. Okay, very good. Yeah, it's a very subtle angle. Beautiful. Okay, so this was only a test. So this circular pattern we are just sending into Nirvana. Bye-bye. How do we do this twist now? That's actually really super easy. I need to figure out where do I want this actually to start blending, and then I need to define this end here too. And the question is, does it rotate around here or the center? Or is it actually from this point the line goes up so that this edge, for example, is straight and then only these edges start to twist? That's really up to you to decide. I will go with the way of along the center point here, rotating it. So remember 5 millimeters and 100 millimeters. So let's make a sketch. There we are. Now, and here is actually this this rectangle, and I'm going to draw here a line down. There we are. And this line got actually glued onto the geometry. The reason why I made this line is I have actually now a construction line with a midpoint. Actually, quick test. Let's say here, right click, edit feature. I just make this minus 15. And see here, this line followed it. Beautiful. Cool. So back to the sketch. And now we'll go ahead, go to create and rectangle from the center, the midpoint. There. Click and drag out. And then dimension. This one is 5. And this one is 100. I want to hide this and also hide the other. And now I need to rotate it. So I press escape, hide this again. And I have a horizontal constraint here. That one is going to prevent the rotation, but now I should be able, yep, to rotate it. No. If you want to specify the amount of rotation, we can draw here a line. This line can just be construction line. And then you specify, for example, well, and that doesn't really make sense here to this edge. So I'm drawing here another midline. Oh, I like geometry. Good, I listened actually in middle school. See, there now I have two lines, and there I can add perfectly the amount of rotation, 15 degrees. Cool, beautiful. This one is very hidden, so I will drag this one out. Bonk. Cool. Okay. So how do we continue? Now, the blade we actually have to shorten, and then we patch in the twisted part. To shorten this blade, ideally hide all the sketches. You see, with the sketches, I only had a profile section. And without the sketches, I can select really the face of that geometry, push and pull, and well, we just define how far do we want to go back. There we are. Let's say like this. Show the sketch. There we are. And then we can say U to U. See, we have a slightly irritating overlap where we select all those. So these I will loft. So I will use the loft command. Their software complains a little bit. Okay, sometimes that's fine. So we can also, by the way, simply start the loft command and we say profile 1 plus, and now we're going to select, hold shift, profile 2, so all the segments, and join, yes. And what I really want to do is at profile 1, it should be a nice tangent flow. Pay attention to what happens here when I set this to G0. You see that's a harsh edge. And with G1 or G2, it's nice and smooth. And join. Should be one piece. There. I mean, it's super easy. Now, I don't make the sketch to define the 3D body. I simply loft it. When I go back to sketch, and maybe hide everything I don't need, right click and say show dimension. What about 10 degrees? This way I can rotate it. 20. That's going to be pretty windy. Okay, beautiful. Right click, go back to edit feature. Here, this is actually profile 1, and when I drag this one out, you notice how I'm pushing and pulling this twist backwards or forwards or left and right. And 1 was actually kind of like the standard value. And when I go to 0.5, I push this a little bit to the right. 0.5, 0.3, and there you can see how this gets further and further to the right side. Okay. The nice thing of using the loft command for this, it creates a beautiful transition. I don't have to draw actually these curves. I give up a little bit of individual control, but the software creates a really nice transition for me. Okay, we're actually getting pretty close. So when I go back to my original design, you see here I have this rounding. How do I do this rounding? So to round a corner, I need to have a corner. Okay, cool. Class. What's the issue? There's my corner. Let's round it. As you can see, it goes the wrong direction. So How do we fix this? Super easy. First, I will create myself two helpers. So one construction plane, repeat, and then please here, there also a construction plane. You see they're they're aligned along these two faces. Let's hide this. They're going to be our helper. And now I will go ahead and say circular pattern, this body along this one 3 times, and then I will join them all into one piece. Then now you see I have actually the edge I was looking for. So these are the two edges I need. Oh no, I do not need to round this one, but this one. That's the reason why I turned on the sketch to see where's my original piece. And then that we fill it. There we are. 50 millimeters. It's fine. Cool. Click. Construction. Now what we do, we go ahead and say split body. This one split by you. And we can only select one. Okay. Right click, split body you by you. Thank you. And then I can go ahead and say select those, right click. Oh, not delete. I do not want to delete it. Unfortunately, here I can't do remove, so I just hide it. But body, these two bodies, right click, I remove. So they're gone. Yeah, and there's my finished piece. Now I can go ahead and do some interesting details. Let's round this a little bit. Maybe 5 millimeters. Nah, that's going to be too much. 2 millimeters. Right click, repeat. 10 millimeters, so 1 centimeter. Oh, that's tiny. Whoops, too much. Yeah, 20 millimeters. Okay, that's good. Circular pattern. This is now where we can go ahead and do pattern of this. Yeah, it looks pretty nice, no? I do not have rounded these edges. Now, again, this is going to be a detail we will do at the end, which is actually also slowly we are reaching. So I will select these two edges and click the fillet command, 1 millimeter. There we are. Very good. But hey, this is only on that one, not on there. Well, that's an easy fix. I drag that fillet command in front of the circular pattern. Now I give the circular pattern this fully filleted piece. So easy. Since we're working on the bottom part, we can also think about the screws actually that go below there. Yeah, so what's the easiest way? So 2 screws we can very easily simplify with cylinders that or hex nuts geometry. For such a concept, then we can know where something, for example, should be. Kind of like you see here. But they're nicely symmetrical. So also here, when I designed this, at one point I have my circle, 60-degree, two pieces. As you can see, there's kind of like on one blade, and then I did a circular pattern. Okay, so go to my sketches. So this is my original piece, which means that is where I will actually, maybe on this face, I will select, and there I will create actually this that design. I will click create sketch. Very good. I can hide this. I will hide also all the other sketches. And you see here is this profile. Since I have this profile, I wanna do an offset to the inside. Let's say -5 millimeters. That's not enough. 10. Okay, good. So you see, they are kind of like they're parallel to that. Very good. And I could, because I have these lines, now I need to figure out where goes one hex nut, and I want to have the same on the opposite. So here I will draw a line now. And because in my design, I am, how could I say that? Well, these are 60-degree each to the X line or axis. This is parallel to Y. So when we rotate this, everything will fit. That's also the reason why I very often try to model something not strictly along X, strictly along Y or Z to just make future tasks much easier. That was a lot of words. Okay, less talking, more modeling. We can go to the polygon tool, and doesn't really matter which one you use. There we are. Or select this one. And here we have to be careful that we don't go over there too much. 6 faces is great. Very good. Then we can press D, dimension this, and let's say 4 millimeters. And you see this actually scaled everything down. And then I can also say this point, coincident on this line. So now I have actually this point facing straight down. It's kind of nice how this line is actually perpendicular to this line. I could also undo, have set you to here. So now what will happen is that these faces, they will always be parallel. This dimension is actually wrong. So escape, delete, dimension, there, drag this out correctly so it's parallel, and 4. Beautiful. I do not need, actually I just realized it. Initially I built the nut here too. I don't even need this because I can use the x-axis to mirror this over. So let's delete this. But now we can specify the dimension from there to there. How far do I want this? So let's say 40 millimeters. Okay. Very good. Actually, let's go with 45 because we're placing one here too. There we are. And again, this is just going to be a simplification of something. I need to show my bodies, new body, and this goes in a little bit. So let's say like 3 millimeters. So it looks nice. Shouldn't be too clunky. Okay, perfect. Cool. So now we make a pattern to go down, and then we mirror this over, and then we actually rotate this. So going back to showing the sketch, I will now go to pattern, pattern along path, I think. So that's my body. Then this is the path. Drag this one out. Actually, I only need 2. Well, let's say here, 25. Cool. There. Then I will go to the mirror command, select these 2 bodies, select then this mirror plane. There we are. Beautiful. And now I can select the last, nope, the last 4 bodies here and do a circular pattern. And there we are. See, pretty easy. You just need to know how you're actually starting your layout. Now we can look at this. Do we like this? I could, for example, put this further to the outside, bring this further in. We kind of like have a empty space here. Could center this. So right click on that one, and I just simply bring this further down. Hit OK, and then it just updates it for me. Clock, 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 clock. Easy peasy. Beautiful. Okay, so that's kind of done. That looks nice mechanical. Soon it's summertime. Looks like a boat design. We can now think of finishing this styling here. So how do I want to do this? I would like to actually these internal edges to be slightly rounded and then the outside to be rounded. So, where did I do this? There's my pattern cut. So I move my time marker right in front of it. And then I select 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 and 6 and 7. And then I do a small fillet. Let's say 1 millimeter. Okay, that's good. Right click, repeat fillets, and then I select those here. Yeah, and let's see what happens. Oh yeah, well, we can go 1 millimeter too. Okay, very good. And you see by this way, I got really these nice edge flows. It's pretty cool. Now I go one step further. So there's a circular pattern, but didn't really do the filleting. Well, right click, edit, and then here for the feature, I select with shift click. Maybe I have to. Hey, hold on. What's going on now? I love this when what I'm trying to do doesn't work. Oh, maybe I cannot do these two features at the same time. Okay, can do a fillet. Sorry, a pattern again, and say. See here, I can select these two. Fine. Maybe it makes sense now. First pattern cuts everything. Second pattern adjusts the edges the fillet created. Sorry, with the fillet we adjust the edges the extrusion created. Oh, doesn't work. Okay. One more time. So perfect. No edges. Well, in my case, actually, this worked, so I don't know why this now doesn't work. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Stuff like this can happen. So how do we continue? Well, so this is actually a touch-up detail. Okay. See, I moved the time marker to the end. Now I move all these fillets to the end too. We have the geometry done. All we need to do is, okay, here I will just go ahead and then also 7 edges there, hold shift. Sorry, on the Mac, the command key, and I think on the PC it's control. I simply add the missing edges to it afterwards, then manually. It's a little bit irritating, but it's okay. I try to make the videos always as error-free as possible. Whoops, not you. But sometimes errors still happen. And as long as they're not too drastic, I leave them in because they simply show you how to fix something. So all that is done. Oh, actually, I have a... Ah, look at that. Hey, I can do all this at once. Ah, see, that's how you learn. I will do the same here. There. Okay. I fill it all at the same time. Click OK. I will get here fillet error. That's fine. But this one now we delete because now we had first like 2 fillets, 1 pass, 2nd pass, and now we do both in 1 fillet command. This is actually better. That's how your modeling evolves, by the way. Beautiful. Now we have this top. This one we can fill it too. When we go with 2 millimeters, we get a kind of like a not so beautiful top. 1 millimeter is better. Actually, in that case, right click. What about we add this to here? Okay. I need to also then select these top edges. Oh yeah, there. I'm just rounding everything here. You see, this is pretty labor intensive, lots of clicks. The more fillets you have, the more complex your model gets to adjust. That's also, again, a reason why to do this at the end. Then we can do some last fillets here, there, and there. I would like those to be the same, so I go with a chord length. And there it is. Round this a little bit. Maybe 2 millimeters. 3. Yeah, 3 looks good. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. Now, so because we have everything here nicely adjusted, we can go ahead and play with the features, etc. Here, this is actually 1 millimeter. How does this look when it's actually just 0.5 millimeter? And as you do this, and everything's being updated. Pretty cool. Here too, this is all 1 millimeter. I mean, it's actually not a big big rounding, but 0.1, no, 0.5 looks sleeker. Here, because this thing actually rotates, and we have 2 edges that are kind of overlapping. Sometimes what I do is I do my first fillet there, 0.5. Okay, right click, repeat fillet, and then select that lower edge, 0.5 there. So now we have a nice separation line. We have 2 fillets. To do this better, let me delete actually those. We can go to the selection and say only select edges. There we are. Maybe I go wireframe. There we are. And then fillet, click and drag. Well, Fusion interface. I specified the selection, and here now I have a different selection. There. So I painted actually these edges, and then there, 0.5. Good. So it made actually adding these edges to it much easier that way. And I only have 1 fillet. Technically speaking, that's cleaner. Don't forget, adjust your selection. Beautiful. Okay, let's finish the visual presentation. We can press A, to go to materials. This is kind of like satin steel. We can keep this steel. We can go to metal, aluminum. Okay, let's say it should be an anodized body. If it has to be, can also make this colorful. Nope. Right click, delete unused materials. And now I want this to be in the center wood and top and bottom to be a plastic veneer. So I go to wood, solid, and then let's go to finished. Yeah. We can drag this onto it. There we are. Okay. Now here we see this the wood in between. That's really nice. And now the top faces I want to look different. I have to apply the 3D wood first because I cannot apply a volume material to a face. So now I go to paint, glossy, not here, paint enamel. And I have this selected two faces and I can drag everything onto the faces. There we are. Pretty easy. It looks actually pretty cool from the bottom because you see how the veneer flows always to the center. There we are. Beautiful. If you only have 2-3 blades to texture now, you can easily do it this way. If you have 60 blades, then actually I would delete 59 blades, texture one blade, and then make a circular pattern just to cut down that labor. So, here we are. We're actually done. Looks pretty cool.